Yeah, I saw people that were mad about the new Lord of the Rings show, which if you're mad about the new Lord of the Rings show, you shouldn't be watching the new Lord of the Rings show. Don't watch that trash.
Is it coming out now? Is it current?
I guess it's coming out now.
Season 2 dropped.
I saw that they've lost almost like a literal majority of their viewership from the beginning of season 1, and they're trying to make orcs seem like friendly and tragic now.
Yeah.
Where they're like, this family of orcs is just trying to find a better.
They don't have families.
They should do an all orc episode, but it's a musical where they just sing and dance. This is genius.
Dude, I bet they're not too far from that based on the response. Because I'll see people who are into Lord of the Rings tweeting about it, and I just want to be like, why are you putting yourself through this, man? Like, why don't watch it?
They made the good and evil ambiguous, which Tolkien is not. It's very clear who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. Just like in World War II, it's very clear who the good guys are. One side is genociding and torturing, and the other side is trying to get in there and save their comrades who are occupied. Like, there's good guys and there's bad guys, and that was the time period of Tolkien writing this stuff, right? So when you make an orc family and there's like an orc lady and an orc baby, and now orcs fuck and make children, I guess, and they're like, we're not all, we're innocent in all this. We're just swept up in the greater schemes of kings and lords in Middle Earth. It's like, no, you're pure evil. You're evil incarnate. You've been twisted by Morgoth or his minions, and you used to be elves or men, but now you are twisted beyond repair. Your souls have been so badly scarred that now you are pure evil. That's what you are. That's why you're here. You are a literary character written by a fucking pen. Says evil right above your name, circled it, underlined it.
I don't know if I can share the screen with an orcist like this.
I'm a hardcore orcist, if that's what it is. I don't like them. I don't think they belong in Gondor.
Where do orc babies come from?
Some say they just spring out of the ground.
I'm literally confused because I remember in the movie the bad guys springing out of the ground.
The Uruk-hai do, yeah.
The Uruk-hai do. The orcs are different.
Yeah, the orcs are kind of a seedy history with them that you don't really know as much about their.
He's society. Not too specific not really about
society. Like, basically, the orcs are just evil. Kyle's right. Like, there is a good and evil that's not ambiguous in the Lord of the Rings world, and a lot of the mechanics operate on that. And so, if you suddenly make it that, these orcs in Mordor, they're not like evil savages looking to, conquer the world of men and make it like the time of the orcs and all that. Like, oh no, they're just misunderstood. It's like, well, then that casts a negative light on the humans who are trying to fight back against them. And it's like, no, that's not the way it is. Like, the humans, the elves, the dwarves, like, these are the forces of good, although they do have problems within them. And Mordor, Sauron, Morgoth, whatever, like, that is the force of evil. And you can't upend that without throwing the whole world into a mix that doesn't make sense. It's not congruent anymore with the lore.
I prefer it when my evil's a little good, or at least their points make some sense.
There's enough of that though.
There's so much of that, and it's like we don't need any more. Oh, this guy's bad, but he's also kind of cool and clever. It's like, yeah, in this world, the orcs are bad. Sauron's bad. Morgoth does not have redeeming parts to him.
I can't jump into there's enough of that argument. There's enough of clear-cut good and evil as well.
Where?
Mostly exist in children's shows.
Oh, well, okay. But that's fair. But all of our media, like adult media, is about ambiguous characters now. And it has been for like
15 years or so.
15, maybe 20 years. I don't know when it started, but the anti-hero, maybe it started in 1999 with Tony fucking Soprano.
Okay.
And
maybe it did start there. I was going to say
it's inherently bad. Like, it's not that one structure is like the winner and one's the loser, and like you should always have it be unambiguous or always have it be ambiguous. It matters like what is the structure of the world and what makes sense within the context of that world. And in the Lord of the Rings world, there is an ultimate good and an ultimate evil. Like, that's how
there's stand-ins for God and Satan. Morgoth is Satan.
Yeah, it's an allegory of Christianity, which, by the way, fucking George R.R. Martin released something and he was like, oh, it's just been so stressful and the world is so crazy, I didn't get around to writing it. Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings during World War II. It was so much more stressful than it is now.
During the Blitz,
they were dropping bombs. Retard. I fucking hate that fat idiot.
Winds of Winter isn't
so
written.
Much of my time.
I saw that. Now that was. I'm glad someone on the internet pointed out what we just said, because Tolkien was getting bombed. I think he probably wrote parts of the trilogy during the Blitz.
Yeah,
and the Germans were overhead, and he probably had to turn his lamp down extra low and draw the shades so that the bombers couldn't target fucking Birmingham or wherever he lived.
He's drawing a detailed topographical map of Osgiliath while like the lights are flickering, and George R.R. Martin, covered in crumbs, can't get it done.
One was covered in rubble and the other in crumbs.
Yeah. And that's why 100 years from now, Mr. Martin, Lord of the Rings will be a part of the Western pantheon of great epics, and Game of Thrones will be that thing that people watched for 8 years in the early 2000s.
And we're very disappointed with the non-ending.
Yes.
There's more shows coming out.
Legacy.
There's more shows coming out.
I didn't know George Martin or Gur Martin, whatever his name is, was behind Elden Ring. I guess he's part of the.
Yeah,
I think he helped with some of the lore stuff, right? Which is like, hey, how about you finish your fucking dinner before you start on dessert?
All right, when I see something like that, what I would bet is that they wanted to attach his name to their project, and maybe he tinkered a little, but he did. I'm dubious about the.
That occurred to me, and I'm also dubious. I wish I was more of a subject matter expert. Like if I had played all 3 Dark Souls and could say, "Oh, this is a dramatic departure from what From Software typically puts out," you can see his fingerprints all over it. But I'm not that guy. I don't know.
I played through
it's just like the others.
Yeah. First of all, I love Baldur's Gate. I think the story's tremendous. It really
is that
feels
From
like
Software also.
I don't know who makes it.
Okay.
I think that company is a smaller or medium sized studio. I can't think of the name right now, but I love that game. I think the story's tremendous. You can play it so many different ways, and it feels like you are impactful on the final end of the story. And I like that it's not on rails. Tremendous. So if he did do something for that, fucking kudos to him. Who cares about Winds of Winter? We're never going to read that shit.
Yeah, if it released today, I wouldn't read it. Like I've lost all interest in that. Yeah, I'd end up reading it, but
I was like, Taylor's an avid reader.
I'd be like, yeah.
Have you?
I guess I may as well.
Right. And if you put a donut in front of me, I wouldn't eat it.
Have you read?
And I'd eat it.
Have you read in what is it? The Capote book, in Cold Blood or something?
I have not.
Cold Blood? I don't know. It's a famous book. I've been wanting to read it for a long time. It came to me because I was watching a movie last night and the book was in the movie. I just wondered if you'd read that.
I want to read a classic. I haven't I don't know. I've never read Moby Dick, but I bet it sucks.
It doesn't. It's good. It's good.
Moby Dick?
And it's short. Yeah, you can power through Moby Dick in 3 days.
Give me 5. Now that I wear glasses, so a viewer might think I've worn glasses for like 10 years, but I just wore them for my computer screen and a little less stressful. But I've advanced to a stage where I wear glasses. If my head's not on a pillow, I'm wearing glasses. And it's like, I think I would have been more of a lifelong reader had I been a glasses wearer the whole way through. And I don't know, like, is Citizen Kane any good? I haven't read that.
I don't want to read that. I think In Cold Blood it's about some murders, and then I think Capote I watched the movie about Capote. I know he's that squirrely little gay guy who was a tremendous author. I think he invented some words. I think maybe he invented the word patina.
Really?
I think so.
Well, good for him.
I could be wrong. I heard someone say that, but I think I'm going to read that soon. I haven't read anything in a while. I usually read sci-fi, and sometimes I read. Oh my god, the most embarrassing thing I read is these Star Trek.
Novels?
Almost. I read these Star Trek: The Next Generation novels where they'll like hook up, they'll like hang out with the X-Men and shit. There's like crossovers between other universes, and so you got Picard like dealing with a Marvel character.
Yeah, this is the most embarrassing thing you've ever admitted.
Picard fucks Wolverine. It's dope.
Yeah, you get to see, if you get to see Worf fight Wolverine, that's a pretty fucking good story right there.
It should not be a good fight though.
Yeah, Wolverine has fucking.
Worf loses every fight, right?
Well,
that's the cliche. I know. Prior to Deep Space Nine, Worf loses every fight to establish that the other character is a very tough guy. I get it.
Kind of.
Yeah, the salt pork episode, an excellent one, because salt pork reminds me so much of because of Gimli, it reminds me somewhat of Lord of the Rings, and I just picture it as this is a traveler's meal. You know, it's
that salted pork is particularly good. Salted pork.
That's a nice little extended edition scene they didn't keep in there right before Saruman gets shoved out.
I saw a thing with Christopher Lee being upset that he'd been cut out of his death had been cut out of the main cut of the film, and they're like, "What do you think of the second film?" Or the third film? Is like, I think I should be in it. Something like that. Like, where's my scene? Like, he had this really like, what the fuck kind of attitude. Saruman, and in the extended version, Theoden and all the main characters, Aragorn and everybody, ride up to his tower, and there's water from the flooding that the Ents did, and they're like, they have a talk, and then Wormtongue stabs him in the back, and that's the end of. He spirals down, falls, and the Palantir falls out of his wizard sleeve, and
Wormtongue kills him.
Yeah, because he like talked shit to. They're like up on the tower, and he's like said some mean ass shit to Wormtongue. I can't remember what he said, but he's like, fucking bitch, and like pimp slapped him, and then turned his back to him, and Wormtongue is like gets the knife out, and like, fuck you, dude.
Stabs him. Yeah.
How's he die in the book, Taylor?
He doesn't die in the book until like very late after the Scourge of the Shire.
Yeah,
where he goes, because that's that whole extra plot point that they don't have in the movies at all. Where
thankfully,
Saruman. Yeah, it really, it's like a fun little addendum, but it's also like the pacing is off. It's like we just had this huge, colossal victory, and now anything following that seems so much less threatening. It's like, oh, you just defeated the Dark Lord Sauron and all the armies of Mordor, and we're supposed to be like really worried about Merry and Pippin and the gang having to fight off these Dunedain raiders led by a weakened Saruman. No,
like when the 1980 U.S. hockey team faced Sweden after defeating the Russians, right?
Oh, okay.
That's a let down.
Not very exciting.
Yeah, you do that in video games sometimes. You've already beaten the main story, big boss dragon, and you're like, oh, I forgot about Muglug, the pillager. Hey, buddy, you still harassing that fishing village? Well, my sword's on fire.
Oh yeah, that's what it's like when I do all the side quests in Skyrim, and I'm wearing the fucking wizard's cloaks, and I'm the king of the Thieves Guild. I'm the best assassin in the land. I've killed kings, queens, princes, dragons, and I show up in Whiterun, and he's like, "My name is Jarl Balgruuf. Who are you, you stranger?" And it's like, did you not see the way I paralyzed everyone in your guard on the way in? Did you not see that?
A word?
Yeah. And then I let you arrest me. I didn't have to do that. I could have done what I did the first time I played Skyrim, where I fought some guard at Whiterun, and before you know it, you kill so many people that now you can't complete quests there because they're so upset at you.
It's even more ridiculous because in the dialogue options, it cuts back and forth between your character's faces and then puts the buttons at the bottom, and it's like this goofball. It's like, how dare you stand before me? You tipped fate. Will you tip your life is in peril, sir? And then it cuts back to me, and I'm wearing a crown of heads or something. Yeah. Like, I'm on fire. Like everything on me is has a name. It's like, oh, that's the gauntlet of fates, and that's the sword of destruction. Yeah. He's got the boots of envy, and it's like, come on, y'all couldn't write this into the game code that when they're like, hey, you're clearly a guy who knows a thing or two, so I don't have much to say to you, sir. But if you need any help from me, I'd love to help you.
There is a dragon at Helgen. Can you assist us in destroying it? And it's like, I'm wearing dragon bone armor.
Dude, I'm doing that right now in Elden. So I'm playing Elden Ring. The DLCs were difficult. And some days, today I added another remembrance boss to the pile of corpses behind me. But yesterday I was like, this game is so hard. I'm going back to the base game, get a little ego boost. And mind you, I'm taking down gods, demigods, giant dragons. Then I go back to the base game and I'm like, here's a hairless ostrich I never fought. Let me introduce you to my flaming great katana. And it was just nice to boost my ego a little bit.
Yeah, you need that sometimes.
Yeah, good stuff.